Joe Rogan. Everybody knows Joe Rogan. He's a podcaster. He's also a comedian. That's really what he does, right? Joe Rogan is an announcer for MMA fights, and he's a comedian. He's a working comedian. He just likes MMA. He's trained in it, right? But really, what is Joe Rogan? Comedian, right? I moonlight as a comedian from time to time. Joe Rogan does it for a living. He's got Netflix specials to prove it. He's got tour dates and tour schedules. It's really what he does. Okay, that's his thing, all right? It's like I get up every day and I do this show. He's working on material. He's working out at the Comedy Store. Anybody who listens to his stuff for any amount of time, they'll get that. I was recently critical about Joe Rogan because him and Bill Maher had a conversation. I thought it was pretty whack. I made fun of it. But never did I say cancel Joe Rogan. I don't want to cancel Joe Rogan, and I didn't say cancel Joe Rogan. I don't think I've ever called for anybody to ever be canceled. Maybe except Hillary. I think I could say cancel Hillary, Debbie Wasserman Schultz. So I disagree with them, which was too much for some people. Oh my God, you disagree with them. Oh my God, you calling them out. Oh my God, oh my God. Yeah, I do that from time to time. I get in my feelings and I just say what I feel. It's probably, some people like it, some people don't like it. It's who I am. It's what I do. It's how this show keeps going. It's why it's been successful, sort of. Semi-successful. Semi. So this is coming from a guy, I just want to give you perspective and context that I'm not a guy who just goes, Joe Rogan, yeah. Jordan Peterson, yeah. Milo, yeah. Whatever, man. Like some guys, like I'm not one of those guys. I don't just go, yeah, Joe. Can I have some bath water, man? Could you save me some of your bath water so I can drink it and gargle it? Rub it all over my body. Please, Joe, let me please kiss your ass, please. Mwah. You know, there's people like that, you know. There's people like that. They're just kissing. Oh, Joe, can I massage your back? Let me get your pecs. What the heck? Let me massage your pec. Do I sound like Chris Rock? I hope I sound a little bit like Chris Rock. I'm doing my best little Chris Rock. I was wondering, could I massage your pectorals? Joe Rogan recently said he would vote for Bernie Sanders, that he will probably, he said, I'll probably vote for Bernie Sanders. That's what he said. I'll probably vote for Bernie Sanders. It wasn't like, I'm voting, I'm going to have Bernie Sanders, baby. You know, it was just, you know, just said, I'll probably vote for him. Then he said some nice things about him. Here goes a very short clip. So here goes a short clip of Joe Rogan saying he'll vote for Bernie and why, briefly, edited, put together by the Bernie Sanders campaign, who posted the video on Twitter and on their YouTube channel. Here it is.
I think I'll probably vote for Bernie. Him as a human being, when I was hanging out with him, and yeah. I believe in him. I like him. I like him a lot. What Bernie stands for is a guy who, well, look, you could dig up dirt on every single human being that's ever existed if you catch them in their worst moment and you magnify those moments and you cut out everything else and you only display those worst moments. That said, you can't find very many with Bernie. He's been insanely consistent his entire life. He's basically been saying the same thing, been for the same thing his whole life. And that, in and of itself, is a very powerful structure to operate from.
Seems like a pretty fair analysis, even though it was brief, and I think more was said, you know, in that in that conversation with Joe Rogan and Barry Weiss. But, you know, for the purposes of what we're doing, that's enough, right? He said, I'll probably vote for Bernie Sanders, and he went on to say some things about Bernie Sanders and his consistency and the things that, you know, he kind of likes about it. He likes the guy. He met the guy. He liked the guy. He thought the guy was reasonable, not kooky crazy like they've been painting him to be. Okay, so that, you know, pretty decent endorsement type thing, or I'm going to vote for the guy. That was enough to make Democrats run around with their head on fire, clutching their pearls, and beating themselves about the face and neck with a belt laced with bullets and broken glass. That was enough for them to chastise themselves and 12 years a slave themselves, or Passion of the Christ. That's the Passion of the Christ. That was enough for them to torture themselves and torture Bernie for all about this, because evil Bernie Sanders accepted this from Joe Rogan, and not only accepted it, he made a video out of it, put it up on his website and all this stuff. They got a problem. They say, they don't like the fact that Joe Rogan did it. I mean, did Joe Rogan endorse Bernie? Or that Bernie accepted it? Bernie should have, rejected it, repudiated it, and disavowed it, and disemboweled it, and went to the bathroom, released his bowels, and drank some prune juice to help it out, and should have done all these things he should have done, right? He should have done all these things. Because the Democratic Party, they're pissed off because they don't like Joe Rogan. They think Joe Rogan is horrible. They think Joe Rogan's a bad guy. They think Joe Rogan is not a Democrat. And Joe Rogan, they think he's a bad person, right? So here's the deal, man. The Democratic Party can go straight to hell if this is the way they're going to play the game. I said the Democratic Party can go straight to hell if this is the way they want to play the game. Okay? Because it's so disingenuous and it's so obvious that they are so hypocritical and that they are so two-faced and that they hate Bernie Sanders so much that no matter what it is, they're gonna get pissed. No matter what it is, they're gonna cock a fit. They're gonna hold a fit. They're gonna hold a temper tantrum. Joe Rogan is a comedian. He's allowed to do whatever he does. He's allowed to tell jokes on his own podcast and do whatever he wants to do. That's up to him. We can critique him. We can say something. We can not listen to him or whatever. But what you cannot do is to pretend that he is some type of person from another planet whose ideas and views are not valid to him and his listeners. You wish you had the following that Joe Rogan has. All of you, from Nancy Pelosi to all of these people, Rachel, all of you wish you had the following that Joe Rogan has. You wish that your party was as popular as 3 Joe Rogans. It's not. It's not popular. It's not. The leading political figure in the United States is an independent. He's not even a Democrat. His name is Bernie Sanders. That's how great your party is. And the president right now is not a Democrat. He's a Republican. His name is Donald Trump. You getting a picture yet? Guess who's not that freaking popular? Guess who needs to shut all the way the hell up? The Democratic Party. That's who needs to shut up, Johnson. This is the same party that had no problem with Ellen taking pictures with George W. Bush, the warmonger himself, who took us to an illegal war, a war of lies for oil money, and killed 1 million Iraqis. You're the ones that told me, hey, we need to shut up. It's all about unity. We need not have division. We need to all get along. We need to, what did Obama say? We need to stop this cancel culture. We need to stop this purity test. Oh, okay. But it's only when it's people that you like. It's only when you decide, you get to decide who's pure, who passes the purity test. So you have no problem. It's not that you have a problem with purity tests. It's just that you want to decide the qualifications of poor or pure or test. That's a problem for us because we don't have to conform to your ideals. We don't have to vouch for it. And see, I'm someone sitting here who just complained, I don't want to say complain. That makes me sound like a punk ass. I didn't complain. I made fun of it. I called it out, but I didn't complain, and I didn't get offended. I called it out. Something I disagree with Joe Rogan on. But that does not mean that I think the Democrats are right at all. You're wrong. Totally wrong. Utterly hypocritical. So support George W. Bush, who's a Republican, who you're supposed to, that you're ideologically opposed to, that took us to illegal wars. He's cool. Joe Rogan, guy with a podcast, minding his own business. He's evil. Hadn't killed anyone. Hasn't taken anyone to any wars. Hasn't lied to the world and conjured up mass destruction. They hate us for our freedom. None of that. But we need to cancel him and cancel Bernie at the same time. And if Bernie doesn't cancel Joe Rogan, you going to cancel Bernie? I think not. I think not. You can't cancel somebody you ain't got a subscription to. Joe Rogan is not an angel. He doesn't pretend to be. He's a guy with a show who brings on whoever the hell he wants to bring on. Sort of like me, bringing on whoever the hell I want to bring on my show. I don't conform to anybody's rules about what I do or what I say or who I have on. Don't like it, don't watch. Don't like it, don't support it. But you don't get to tell people who they can like and who they can't like. Joe Rogan can vote for whoever the hell he wants to vote for. And by the way, garters of the elite, I didn't see you having a problem with last week. Joe Rogan doing a podcast said that there were other presidential candidates that wanted to come on his show. Mayor Pete, Joe Biden, and Elizabeth Warren all wanted to come on his show. I wonder if he would have had the same reaction if he would have chose one of them as his pick for 2020. Some tells me you wouldn't have. Some tells me you to shut the hell up. Some tells me you to shut all the way the hell up. I don't think we would have heard a word or a peep out of it. I think the only reason why you got a problem with who Joe Rogan likes is because it's not somebody that you like. And case in point, you don't have a problem with the fact that Joe Rogan's politics may not line up with your politics, whatever the hell that is. I don't line up with it either. I don't line up with anything that you elites think is right because it's always tied to corporate America. It's never tied to us. Okay? But you got no problem with Bernie reaching across the aisle or Bernie working with independents, do you? I mean, he is an independent. You got no problem with him working with people that lean whatever stripe of political ideology that they have. Because Amy Klobuchar brags every debate about how I'm from a red state and I can win in a red state. Why can she win in a red state? Because she gets red state people to vote for her, right? You've never said we don't like Amy because she's able to attract conservatives. Bernie attracts Joe, whatever Joe is. I don't even know what he is. I don't know if he even has a label. But he attracts a guy who's not a traditional Democrat, which is short for Republican, light. And all hell breaks loose. You guys are the most hypocritical, backward people. You're disgustingly obvious bias. It's so flagrant. Like you're the guy who walks up, smacks the other player upside the head, kicks him, knees him in the groin, throws him to the ground, and when they throw the flag on you, go, what, me? What? What did I do? What? I can't believe this. What did I do? What? That's you. That's the Democratic Party. That's what you do. So it's cool when Amy Klobuchar and Joe Biden or whatever the hell like their whole strategy is we need a milquetoast ass Democrat so he can go or he or she can pull Republican votes. But then you get a guy like Bernie who's not only pulling independent and Republican votes, he's pulling people like Joe Rogan with huge platforms, and you got a problem with it because he made some jokes. You don't get to vet who likes whatever candidate. You don't get to vet voters, dumbass. You vet candidates. Vet candidates. Vet them on their records. Don't vet them on their people that vote for them or say they're going to vote for them. That's the stupidest shit I've ever heard. You're going to vet voters. You're supposed to try to attract voters. You fucking Hillary Clinton sellouts. Pathetic with a capital P. You're horrible. Horrible losers. Horrible, pathetic. How does it feel to be a sellout corporate shill, an empty suit? Whether it's a woman's suit or a man's suit or something in between, you are horrible. You're sellout scumbags. Every last one of you. You don't get to decide what voters like, you bastards. Voters get to decide who they like. You know, I like Dave Chappelle. I'm a big Dave Chappelle fan. When he supported Andrew Yang, I said nothing negative because it's up to Dave Chappelle who he wants to support. That's that man's choice. I'm on the record with that. And every Yang supporter knows because I'm pretty well known in their circles because I've been critical of Andrew Yang. But I respect the fact that Dave Chappelle can vote for whoever he wants to vote for. I didn't clutch pearls, act crazy, take a dump on him, talk about we need to cancel Dave Chappelle because he likes Andrew Yang. I was disappointed, though. But hey, what am I going to do? It's a free country, at least when you got a lot of money it is. The point being is that I didn't have a problem with it. And even if I did, I kept it to myself because it's none of my damn business who Dave Chappelle said he's going to cast a vote for come November. And guess what? It's none of your damn business either, Democrat elites, overlords, slave catchers. We allowed that who have our own thoughts? I don't know if we's allowed to have our own thoughts. Massa might get mad if black people want to choose. And there's somebody, Nancy Pelosi's daughter, Christine Pelosi, who no one would know. Not a single solitary person would fucking know who she is if her mother wasn't Nancy Pelosi and she wasn't a rich sitting up there talking about, where's that damn tweet, guys? Here goes the tweet from Christine Pelosi that got me pissed off, man. Here it is right here. Rogan attacked Speaker Pelosi just last week. You can keep him in your tent, but don't expect women and trans people and African Americans and others he attacked to put him in ours. Not your bargaining chip. You know what? Go straight directly to hell. Don't pass go. Don't collect $200. Just go directly to hell, whatever the hell your name is, Christine Pelosi. That's what you could do for us. Go directly, don't make a beeline to the hell, to hell. Make a beeline to hell. Call an Uber. Look, I don't care how you get to hell. You can take an Uber. You can take Lyft. You can walk. You can hitchhike. You can fly on your broom. You can shove the broom places that we can't get to. Whatever you need to do. Whatever orifice. Whatever you need to do that shit. You are horrible. Your mama is a public figure. People get to talk shit about her. People talk shit about me all the time. You know what I know what doesn't happen? My poor-ass kids don't get online and berate them and talk shit. And I'm poor and I'm broke and they don't do that shit. Who the hell are you? I mean, real talk, man. Who the hell are you, lady? Who the hell are you that you can't let your mama's a rich, she's made all her money while being a politician. How the hell do you make money being a politician? How do you become rich being a politician? How? If you ain't corrupt as hell. How'd that happen? You know, I had an interview with Ben Cohen the other day. He was talking about ice cream, co-founder of Ben & Jerry's. Ben's a really cool guy, man. And he was saying he's 50 pounds lighter because he no longer is the R&D and chief inspector of his own product. And what I mean by that is that, he used to taste his own product. Sort of like the way Nancy Pelosi is supposed to, manage our money and stuff and manage stuff in California. She's been tasting her own product. She's like $50 million heavier than she should be. What do you think about that, Christine? She's been dipping into the ice cream, so to speak. You get what I'm saying? You catch my meaning, heifer? How dare you act like your mother isn't capable of being called out like everybody else? I mean, it looks like she won, like she's winning. She's almost 80 with $80 million. What's 800 million? I don't know how much money she has, but she did all right. She can't take a comedian on a podcast saying she's a loser. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It pisses me off, guys. It just really pisses me off. So they're all upset that Bernie Sanders got an endorsement from a comedian. Andrew Yang got an endorsement from a comedian. I'm glad he did. I'm glad he didn't give Yang a bunch of shit about it. I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad they didn't. I wonder who endorsed, who endorsed Elizabeth Warren. Probably somebody. I could find something about them I don't like. I don't know who they are. People who endorse Joe Biden, there's probably something somewhere they said or did at one point in time, a tweet or a movie or a scene they played or something that they did in their lives that we could pick apart and make it an issue, right? Sort of like what Joe Rogan was saying in his video. But you can't find anything really on Bernie, can you? So you go after people that support him. You go after Bernie bros. You conjure this thing, similar to Hillary Clinton when she made up the Obama boys. That's a racist trope. It came from racist-ass Hillary Clinton using it against Obama, and it didn't work. And if it wasn't for a complicit-ass media, it wouldn't have worked on Bernie in 2016 either. Bernie Sanders isn't perfect, but he's a lot better than the rest of you bastards. And you only got a problem with Bernie Sanders getting an endorsement from Joe Rogan because it's not the guy you want. It's not the person you want. You know? That's all the problem is. That's the whole issue. You know, you're afraid that Bernie's going to win. And you know what? He is going to win. He's going to win because we're going to make him win. He's going to win because we're going to make this not even close. We're not even going to make the mistake of giving you an opportunity to steal it because it's going to be so far. It's going to be such a wide chasm, such a great void of space between Bernie Sanders and the rest of these competitors that for you to give it to them, it would be so obvious that every newspaper in the entire globe would be calling you lying, thieving liars, backstabbing Democrat bastards. That's the only choice we have is to make this thing nowhere near even remotely close that you could steal it. Because that's the only problem you have. You have a problem that Bernie Sanders is going to upset the apple cart, that he's too set in his ways to be contorted or to cave in and to forget everything he's worked for the last 40 years. The real problem with the fact that Joe Rogan endorsed Bernie Sanders is right here in this clip.
Look, as you say, 4 candidates who are stuck in the Senate chamber for much of the home stretch here heading into the critical Iowa caucuses. We have a look at some new polls. In the last 24 hours, a bunch of new polls come out here. A national poll from Monmouth yesterday. They find something we've been seeing for a while now. Biden clearly in the lead in this poll. Sanders clearly in second. Warren in third, clearly behind him. By the way, Bloomberg, with all that money spent outside the first 4 states, getting to 9% here. But check this out. The other national poll to come out yesterday from CNN. First time you've seen that in a long time. Yeah. Bernie Sanders in the lead nationally. What's the difference between what you found in this CNN poll that has Sanders ahead? Non-white voters. In this poll, this CNN poll, he leads Biden by 3 points among non-white voters. I don't know which of those polls is right, but if Sanders is going to win the nomination, that's where he's got to build support. You see in that poll what happens when he does. By the way, the other new poll this morning, I don't know how it skipped this. I must have hit this with the outside of my hand or something. Sanders up 12 this morning in a new New Hampshire poll, a WBOR poll right there. Again, remember, the name of the game for Sanders and for all these candidates is to try to get that 1-2 punch. Iowa, roll it into New Hampshire. A couple things to keep in mind, by the way, the gaps we're seeing here nationally, the coalitions, this from the Monmouth poll yesterday, Sanders leading among liberals. Biden, obviously, among moderates, Sanders dropping. And you see, by the way, Warren, that's the real drop-off. Sanders has a pulse with moderate voters. Warren, not so much.
Yeah, there does seem to be something happening, and the national polls and the trend lines in Iowa appear to be converging as well, if you believe some of the private numbers.
They don't fool me. I know their real problem. The problem is that Bernie Sanders is polling well. The problem is they're having to grapple with the fact that Bernie Sanders can win this nomination. Not only can he win it, it's in the tea leaves. It seems very inevitable that Bernie will win, and that's the last thing that they want, Johnson. That's the problem. If Bernie was down in the polls, if he wasn't a threat, if he wasn't about to steal this whole thing, win this whole thing, then they wouldn't have a problem with whoever endorsed him. They'd be like, who cares? They'd be like, who cares? Not a problem. That's the real issue. So, Joe Rogan, obviously doesn't need my permission or my endorsement, but I endorse Joe Rogan's endorsement of Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders, I implore you, sir, to not let the haters or whoever they are, the detractors, whoever they are, make you even think for a millisecond that this is not a good thing. This is an excellent thing for you. This is excellent. It's important. It's important that people get behind your campaign, whether they be Democrats, whether they be acceptable to the Democratic establishment or not. The whole point of your run is to attract people who gravitate, whoever those people are, whoever they are. That's the whole point. And I know you don't need to listen and hear it from me. I know you don't. You don't need to hear this. You know what you're doing. I just hope we hold fast. Everybody hold fast. Any groups that turn on you were never your groups anyway. Any group who thinks that the person who endorsed you, like there are people saying, I saw some of them using like these Republican talking points. I wonder where that came from. Well, I bet Bernie's going to throw this endorsement away like he did Jank. Well, you know, Bernie didn't endorse Joe. Joe endorsed Bernie. So it's kind of different, isn't it? Like, Bernie's not co-signing Joe. Joe just co-signed Bernie. It's the other way, right? That is different, right? You know what I mean? Like, that. I think there's a difference. I don't know if that makes sense to you or not. Or you just like clicks and views or like saying stupid shit that makes, I don't know, because you think it's helpful to your bottom line. Because your boss told you to say it. I don't know why you say what you say. But it just doesn't make much sense. Yeah. Bernie Sanders went on the Joe Rogan show and he got millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of views. Like 14 million, some crazy number. I don't know what it was. When was the last time Amy Klobuchar got 1 million views that wasn't in a debate? I don't think it's ever happened for her. I don't think she's ever gone viral for any reason. She stood in the snow and couldn't go viral. When was the last time Elizabeth Warren got that many views on anything? That many people exposed to her at one time for an hour long to have a conversation and talk about issues that matter. You know, that's what Bernie got to do on the Joe Rogan show. Even in my criticism of Joe Rogan, I acknowledged that before this ever broke, before this was ever an issue. I said, you got to respect the hell out of Joe Rogan for opening up his platform and bringing people on like Bernie Sanders and exposing them to an audience. I said that in that video because it's important. It's the truth, you know? These people are just butthurt. They're sorry. They're pissed off. They're afraid. They're very scared that they're going to have to pay their fair share of taxes, that their corporate kickbacks might go away. They're freaking scared. They're scared their private prisons might get shut down. Weed might become legalized. A livable wage may become a thing. Medicare for all might get pushed through, and people that oppose it may be primary to put out on their ass. They have to get real jobs, so they got to make a real living and actually contribute to society instead of siphon money out of it. You know, they're really pissed off. They're afraid that what might happen is we might end these regime change wars. We might end the wars of convenience, the wars for money and profit for our military industrial complex. They might have to actually get up off their wobbly, white, pasty asses and go out and work for a living. They might have to do something more than pillage and plunder brown countries across the globe in order to increase their settlement money, their rigging money or whatever, their oil refinery money or whatever other crap they gain by doing this, the precious metals that they steal and excavate from other countries. They're afraid, Dan. They're afraid that maybe, possibly, Bernie Sanders will get in that White House and convince poor white folks and poor black folks and poor Latinos and Native Americans and Asians and all of us that maybe the things that divide us aren't as big as we think. And maybe if we had a pot in every pot or a fish in every pot or a chicken in every pot, or whatever you like, or hey, some vegetables in every pot, that everybody be a little bit better off. And if we had health coverage and we had the access to a education that mattered, well, maybe, just maybe we could get past some of this bullshit and have better lives, because at the end of the day, we all do want the same things. You allow the Democrats to tell it, we don't. They want to siphon us up and put us in separate groups. Now, I'm the person who will say, hey, guys, there are issues, racial issues that impact my life. They have impacted my life. They impacted my life from inception, being the first black person, the first member of my family to have the rights of a white guy in America for the entire time America's existed. Do you realize that? And I know that means nothing to you, but that means something to me, and it's the fact of life, okay? It's the fact that my mom couldn't sit on a bus where she wanted, couldn't work where she wanted. My dad couldn't work where he wanted, couldn't do what he wanted to do because he was black, not because he was poor, because he was black. So I recognize that. So I don't just chalk things up as social justice warriors gone crazy. But I do call out bullshit when it's obvious. There's a possibility to do both. Both things can exist. We can have racial inequality and we can have fake-ass manufactured bullshit like this here. And you can be smart enough to take a second, take a beat and look for the nuance and the context and decide which is which. So this is one of those situations that's full of bullshit. This is one of those situations where they're just gaslighting us, trying to make us to believe that we need to stay separate. We don't. Don't act like you're fighting for me, Christine Pelosi. You ain't fighting for me. You don't get to decide what I get outraged about. You don't get to tell me, rich, white, privileged woman, what I should be pissed off about a comedian on this podcast. If I got a problem with Joe Rogan, I'll just make a video. I don't need you to tell me that he needs to be canceled. I don't need your permission or your co-signing or your ordained ministry to tell me that we don't need him in whatever fucking tent as if you own something. You own nothing. You a nothing person. You a nothing burger with legs. You don't matter. Your opinion matters only to you. And it's only important because you got people that kiss your ass around you because your mama and your daddy got money. Yeah, they're afraid. You're afraid. You're afraid that your tax bracket ain't going to be your protection. You got the complexion for the protection from the collection, but at the intersection between brokenness and blackness and Latinos and brown folks and poor white folks, we might band together and do something with this shit. We might actually take this country in a new direction that will freeze you the hell out. We might actually eat the rich and require that you feed the poor, that you end the wars. See, they don't want that. That's the real problem they had with Bernie Sanders. That's the problem they had with all the progressives from AOC to Ilhan Omar, to Rashida Tlaib, to my friends over there who speak truth to power, from Nina Turner, all the way to hell. All of them. They're afraid. This is the only thing they can do. This is their reflex mechanism. This is their gag reflex. This is what they do. This is how they push back. They push back in the most obviously hypocritical, biased ways. They don't want Bernie Sanders because he might change this situation. He may be a catalyst for us to get out in that street and do something. Make some change, some real change. Not that fake-ass change, not that chump change, but real change, fundamental grassroots change that throws them out on their proverbial asses. And for them, that's a scary thought.